What is going on, Go Squad? Welcome to Tactical Tuesday. My name is Trey Miller. Today is September 19th, 2017. Thank you all for watching live. If you're watching later on, I hope you enjoy the show. Before we get going, guys, I want to do a couple things and do a roll call. Let's see who we've got in on the Gun Channel side. Well, everyone on the Gun Channel side is probably still watching and Illusion Armory. They should be getting done here pretty soon. On the YouTube side, guys, we can't see you unless you say hello. We've obviously got Grim90 over there. He's always here. Welcome, Grim. How are you doing, my friend? Let's see here. Before we get going, once again, we're going to do a couple links I'm going to throw in on the YouTube and on the Gun Channel side. I'm going to throw in, as you can see, my website on the bottom and my Patreon on the bottom, but I'm going to throw those in just in case you can't see them on the lower third. So let's throw that right there. All right. Well, guys, we've got a busy day to talk about several topics that I think you guys will enjoy. But first, we get going, let's introduce the panel for tonight's show. Straight out of Washington State, we've got two Hottie. Hottie, what's going on?
Not much. How's everybody doing?
Out of the great state of South Carolina, we have the Outlaw Hatfield. What's up, Ellis?
Just moved, brother. Happy man, happy man.
Yeah, he just moved from Georgia, so he's back up into South Carolina, getting close to West Virginia where his roots are, but all that. Let's see, out of the Big Apple, New York, the John Z Project. What's up, John Z?
What's up, Go Squad? How's everybody doing today? Thanks for the invite.
No problem. The Pants says, sorry he's late. It won't happen again. Well, damn it, Pants. Can't have that. You might get booted. Out of another South Carolina and host of Hit or Miss coming up right after this show. We usually get them for the first half of the show, but Night Strike, how are you, man?
I'm doing good, and I'm actually not that far from Ellis now. Funny enough.
That's scary. That's scary in its own right.
Yeah. Anyways, but we all know that the real show happens after this show.
So I'm the opening act. Is that what you're saying? I'm the opening act tonight?
You are the opener. You're always the opener.
All right. Well, at least I have something, you know.
Well, a little shit.
Yeah.
It's all downhill from here.
Yeah, it's all
seriously.
downhill. All right, and from the great state of Texas, my home state, I live in Arkansas, but my home state, the great state of Texas, Clover Tack, how are you?
I'm well, thanks, Ghost. Hello, everybody.
All right. Well, once again, guys, on the YouTube side, let's make sure you check in and say hi. We cannot see you unless you say anything. Let's see here. Well, before we get going, guys, I do want to discuss a couple quick tidbits. The drill of the week has happened in the last week, and we do have a winner, and it was a really good adaptation of the drill. He added a couple things that I thought were really, really good. And he's actually in this room right now. And it is not one of those that it is, how do I put this? It's not rigged. It's just a really good adaptation of the drill and Clover Tack. Clover Tack is going to be getting a Ghost Squad hat. So I'll be sending that in the mail pretty soon. Congratulations, Clover Tack. Clover, his video was really awesome. He actually did some stuff that I think will be beneficial. So if you get a chance, underneath last week's Drill of the Week video in the comments, I had several email to me, which is fine. I had a couple of Vidneys email to me, that's fine. He went ahead and posted his, but if you get a chance, go check in the comment box. So that would be awesome. I'll tell you what we are going to do, though. I did get some emails from probably 7 or 8 people. And I didn't really think about it because everyone's schedule's not as nice as mine at times. But they were saying that they didn't have enough time in a week to shoot it. So what we're going to do is discuss a couple things. I want to bring you guys into this. Should I give them 2 weeks instead of 1? Or should I give them a full month and do as a drill of the month? What do you guys think?
Nah, let them crash and burn.
I'm crash and burn.
Screw Night Strike. I say give them. I like drill of the month.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking drill of the month. Jared Walsh, what's going on, my man?
I kind of enjoy the drill of the month as well. And
Yeah, I
watching
think
other
I'm
people
gonna.
follow up.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do a drill of the month. And so what I've done is I posted the drill of the week today. But what I'll do is I'll let that run until October 1st. How about that? And then the first Tuesday of October, that Tactical Tuesday, I will post the October drill of the month. So we're going to start it in October as a drill of the month. That gives more people time to get to a range or whatever. And I never really thought about a week not being enough time, but like I said, not everybody's schedule is as nice as mine. So so I understand that. So we're going to do it starting October 1. You're going to get this week's drill of the week. It's actually going to run till October 1. And then on October 3rd, I think is the first. I think it's the 3rd. The first Tuesday in October, I'll post the drill of the month for October. So we'll do it that way. Got that cleared up. And Clover Tap, you did win this weekend. Phenomenal video. I really enjoyed what you did with it. Good job.
Thank you.
Question?
And I like the month schedule too. I think that'll work out a little better.
Yeah, Pants over here says
everybody time to
Clover went
catch up.
operator on that drill. You did go operator on that.
Yeah, I had some mag issues, but and that's a video coming out. But the patrons, they've already seen that. But yeah, I've done some upgrade work to my everyday carry, and I quickly realized that even minor changes that you make to the aesthetics, you definitely need to get out and train because it makes a difference. I was fumbling mags; it was horrible.
Well, and let's bring this up real quick because this is obviously this show can go wherever we want it to go. But one of the things that you and I were talking about in a private chat was the major difference between going to a +1 or going from a +1 to a +2 mag. And when you draw from feel, it's a whole different feel. And you have to practice that to kind of get that feeling into what you're accustomed to grab down there is different now. So is that kind of the biggest deal you had with is drawing it, or did you?
Well, no, it was mag swaps was my biggest thing. And that's because you're just used to doing it by feel. You're not really looking. And the +1s that I had in there, obviously because of the extension, they're longer in the front than they are in the back, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So I'm used to that certain feel. Well, with these +2s, if you look at the Strike Industries, they're more of a square extension rather than an angled like floor plate. So they're almost the same. When you're feeling them, it's hard to tell which side's the front and the back with feel. So I'm going to have to figure out a different way to hold or grab that magazine. That way I can tell which side's the front side without looking.
Well,
yeah, and
Clover,
Cycle
I got a quick
go
question. I got a quick question for you. When you throw your stow your magazines in your magazine pouch, do you always stow them, either bullet forward or bullet backwards, right?
Yeah.
So should that really come into play all that much, or if you always know that your bullets facing
your very first time, which was that video, your very first time using those extended plates, it's going to come into play. It's not something that I can't get used to after 100 rounds or 200 rounds of practice, but that was the very first time. That was the very first shots that I've taken with those magazines. And as far as performance, I mean, they didn't hiccup or anything else. It was all me. Yeah, but
I'm
it had
pretty
to
sure
do
you give it about a
with the feel.
week. Give it about a week or so, you'll build up muscle memory.
Yeah, it's not anything that can't be overcome and overcome quickly. But and I didn't want to. It's one of the things. First of all, it's pressed for time because it was a weekly thing. But the second thing is I didn't want to be fake with it or anything either. So it's not like I went ahead and made it even though the mag swaps were a little bit slow and a little bit fumbly, just to make that point to say, hey, if you upgrade your stuff, here's what can happen. So you better practice, you better train.
That's right. Now, Cycle Camp out there says that he had some issues with his pinky extension on his pocket gun. And I would sit there and say, yeah, I could say that a pocket gun especially would be interesting if you're changing mags or whatever, because it's not in a holster, and you're typically you're used to having a certain size, and you're pulling out of your pocket. Yeah, I could see where that would definitely maybe catch your pant leg or something like that. That could be an interesting thing. All right, guys. Well, enough of the chit chat for that one. What we're going to do real quick, guys, is I usually take the first few minutes of the show to talk about GunChannels.com. And for those of you that aren't on Gun Channels yet, please come over. It is a great, great, great website that, let me put a little link in there. And the biggest thing that I can say about Gun Channels is there's a wealth of phenomenal knowledge that if you have a question or if you just like talking guns or Second Amendment stuff and all that, come on over to Gun Channels. There's a 24/7 lobby chat that's going on literally all day, every day. Most of the content creators and chat and show hosts that you enjoy watching are pretty much all over on Gun Channels, and you can catch them in the chats all the time too. So if you want to talk to them, have any questions, there's a wealth of knowledge over there from any spectrum of the firearms industry. There is a lot of good knowledge. That being said, one of the founders of Gun Channels and gunwebsites.com is G Webs, and G is out there on his gun show loophole tour. And for those of you that may not know what this is, I'm going to put up some links out there on the YouTube side. Most people on the Gun Channels already have all of this stuff. But the Gun Show Loophole Tour is G Webs and his dog. Now, I will say that there are some of us that truly believe that G Webs is the dog and has hired a human to drive him around, because we've never seen on camera, never seen G Webs a whole lot in front of the camera. So there's a lot of us that are starting to worry about that. But the Gun Show Loophole Tour, guys, is he goes around all over the country in his van, and he stops at a lot of these grassroots small town gun shops all over the country, talks to them, takes videos and promotes them, talks about the Second Amendment, goes to gun shows. He's in DC right now, or he was yesterday, I think he went to the NRA museum. Is that correct? He's going all over the place, and it's a really cool tour that he does. And he's promoting gun shops, gun shows, and the Second Amendment all over the country. So go check him out on the Gun Show Loophole Tour. If you would like to support him, which he does this through the support of our viewers and other people, there's his Patreon for gun websites. So go and check that out. He last night about midnight, he did put a live video out there that give an update of the tour. I'm putting that link as well. This YouTube is his latest update. But guys, the biggest thing that I can sit there and say that I would like your help in is I'm going to put out a link out here for AR-15 of mine that I'm putting up for auction.
No.
Yes, I know that you guys are shocked.
Wow.
I have a personal Core 15 AR-15 that I am putting out on gunbroker.com.
That's awesome.
And it's my own personal one that I am putting up there for auction. Auction lasts another about 9 days, roughly. There's the link for Gunbroker as well. And
does it shoot real bullets?
What's that?
Does it shoot real bullets?
It does shoot real bullets. Yes.
Wow.
Yes,
I'm impressed.
Yeah, anyways, whatever. The big thing about this, guys, is 100% of the proceeds from this auction will go straight to G Webs to support the Gun Show Loophole Tour. It will cover some expenses that he's incurred through some van breakdowns, but more importantly, it's just going to help him get through the tour, hopefully without having to dig in too much into the credit cards. I think he's already dug into credit cards pretty hard, so maybe this will help pay some of it off. But guys, if you're supporting the Second Amendment, you support local gun shops and gun shows and all of that, and you want to give back to the community, go check out the auction and go check out his Patreon. Go check out gunshowloopholetour.com and support G-Web because he's doing a phenomenal thing. He's done so much for the Second Amendment community and the firearms community over the last 10 years that it's time to give back to him. So you guys have anything to say about that? Go ahead.
I have one thing to say. I mean, when it comes to your grassroots Second Amendment activists and Second Amendment content creators, nobody does more than G. Nobody.
Absolutely.
Now, Ghost, clarify for us. You're just selling one of your AR-15s. You're not selling all of them, right?
Not selling one. Just one. Just one.
You've got other ones, right?
I've got 3 others.
Okay.
I'm selling this one.
We just want to make sure because, we don't want to leave you out in the cold.
No. And I'm actually planning on my first build this Christmas time. I'm going to build one with my daughter. So that'll be my first AR build. I'm looking forward to that. And right now, you can't beat the prices.
No, you can't.
PSA's got deals out there that you might not ever see again. So
I seen some today for less than $450.
I am going to give you a bit of advice on that. If you're going to build, you can get a PSA lower, but I'm going to recommend look at getting one of the Anderson lowers because you can find those between $29 and $39 online.
Are they worth it?
Almost all of my rifle builds, save for like 2 or 3, are Anderson lowers. They're mil spec. They're good. Check them out. Seriously.
Absolutely. I sure will. Let's see here. Robbie says that G-Wib's in a lot of pictures. Yeah, but we're still not sure that's really him. Like I said, I still think that he's the dog, and the dog's hired a human being to drive him around. I really do think that that's a legitimate thing out there. So,
it's the first Doberman ventriloquist.
That's right. Cycle Kim says he would love to bid, but he's banned in Connecticut. Hey, I understand that. There are going to be people that can't bid on the AR just because it is banned in certain states. But do this for me. If you can't bid on it, share it. Share the video, share the link with people that you think that might be willing to, because we need to help G-Web as much as you can. He's doing a phenomenal thing. So let's see. Let's do a quick roll call over here. Got Grim, the Panch, got Robbie, Cycle Camp on John Z, Night Strike, all of them.
Grim is pulling double duty tonight.
Yeah, Grim always pulls double duty, man. He and Cycle both. On the YouTube site, we've got the usuals. Hemi's in there, Jared's in there. Drox 4 Horde. That's a new name. I do not remember seeing Drox at the show. So welcome, Drox. He says outlaw. He knows where you live. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but he says he knows where you live. It sounds like Ellis, you might need a gun maybe to protect yourself. You have
I've got a few, and if they know me, they know I've got a few.
Do you know Drox 4 Horde?
I got a sneaking suspicion.
All right. Well, he says, "What's up, outlaw?" He knows where you live. So, anyways,
well, if he doesn't, Ellis, I'll bring the arsenal down. Don't worry, you'll be fine.
Dear God, don't you bring the arsenal down, please.
Well, guys,
the idea is to shoot the bad guys, not me.
I understand.
What, you don't want to play around with an AKs and 6 AR-15s? What, is that such a bad thing?
No. I don't mind playing with them. I just not sure I can trust you with it.
Oh.
Wow.
Well, let me throw this back at you. If the government trusts you enough to have a 1911, I'll be just fine.
We'll have Clover sitting in the truck watching Night Strike, so everything will be okay.
Oh, well, that makes it all better. Right there. That makes it all better. Yes, Night Strike, we can hold the fort down together.
Clover can babysit
all right.
him.
Well, Drox 4 Horde says that she's your goddaughter.
Yeah, like I said, I had a sneaking suspicion.
Is that,
hello, Francesca.
The truth? Or in that part of the world, you guys are all related, aren't you? You and Night Strike are related too, aren't you?
Yes.
Distantly, yes.
and Ghost.
Yes, sir.
First of all,
Yes,
kiss
sir.
my ass. Secondly, she's in the room next door.
Oh, there you go. Well, what's up, Drox? How are you doing?
The other hilarious thing is Ellis on his mom's side is also related to Sean as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
God,
All
I'm
right.
cursed.
All right, here we go. The
You
first
are cursed.
topic tonight that we're going to talk about is teachers caring, what they also call campus carry. A lot of things have been going on with school shootings in the last 5 to 10 years, but unfortunately, as Hadi might be able to expand a little bit on for us, Washington State of Spokane. Is it Spokane or Spokane?
Spokane.
Spokane, Washington. There was a school shooting last week that obviously those are never very good, but there are states that are allowing in the last few years for teachers to conceal carry on campus. Obviously, a lot of states are not, but right now, the states that are allowed to carry by law are Idaho, Utah, Colorado, Texas, Arkansas, Kansas, Tennessee, and Georgia. The concealed guns are allowed by law, but schools limit locations are Oregon, Wisconsin, Ohio, and Mississippi. And then you've got concealed guns on campus prohibited by law are California, Wyoming, New Mexico, Missouri, Illinois, Louisiana, Michigan, New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey.
Awful lot of
Then you
blue
have-
states there.
Yeah. Schools decide the weapons policy, which are quite a few. A lot of them I think, are going to this route to where they might be afraid, as the legislators are afraid to make that decision. So they're going to sit there and say, we're going to let the schools decide. And that is Washington State, Nevada, Arizona, Montana, South Dakota, Iowa, Indiana, Alabama, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Vermont, Maine, New Hampshire, Maryland, and Delaware.
And I like
Florida.
that. I like that option a lot better.
Yep.
Even though in Texas we have the legislation, because I'm a big proponent of control, I guess would be the word. Is better utilized at the local level. So to give that power to the individual districts to write their policy and institute it the way they see fit, they want to. I think that's the better move rather than having state or federal governments involved.
And I agree with you in that you have your local town meetings, and when you keep it within the locality of that town, everybody has more of a say individually.
Exactly.
The problem is there are some people, like in some groups, these anti-groups, they go into these towns and cities they don't even live in or live near, and they go and protest against this
why
stuff.
in a small town people would know that.
You could protest all you want, but if you bring outside agitators, it's not going to do any good. And I'll give you an example that's not related to firearms here in Texas. Is we had a county, and all the courthouse and the Ten Commandments or crosses being in a public building, whatever, yada yada yada. And they walked into, I can't remember if it was a city hall or a county commissioner's office. It's been a few years back, and they were protesting and throwing all this big fit because there was a cross or something on the wall in one of the offices there. And then come to find out, all of the protesters were like from all up north. They were like from Michigan or something, and they bust them in. And so they flat out even canceled any hearings on it. They were like, you know what? We're not even going to get together and hear this mess because we've got people coming in that it ain't even none of their business what we're doing.
Exactly.
And I just wanted to mention that because I've seen this happening a lot in South Carolina, and it's starting to happen everywhere else too. And I'm getting fed up with it. You shouldn't protest or be anti against something unless you live in that damn city or state. Yeah,
unless it's your business. If it's not your business, stay out of it. I don't go over to my neighbor's house and gripe because they, their yard's cluttered. That's their business. I don't care. That's their house. If they don't clean their house and their floors are rotted and falling in, I don't care. And it should work the same on every level, not just on that level.
Right.
Exactly.
But I can see where in larger cities, larger school districts, things like that, that could, that's a valid point. I don't want to completely dismiss you or dismiss the point, because that could sway things if it was to go to some kind of a vote in a larger city or something like that, where maybe the majority of the voters, they don't realize or they don't know that it's just paid agitators or nut jobs from out of town.
Yeah, and that's my biggest thing is I don't know if giving the right, passing a law that says that all teachers can carry could be a dangerous slope, because like Cycle even brought up a good, he has a practical concern with the teacher carry, as most teachers are women. How do they ensure no student access their firearms, especially in the lower grades? Well, I would seem to think that they would probably have to have maybe a lockbox, or they have to carry it on their person. If they're going to do concealed carry, then they have to carry it on their person. And I would like to think that.
Wait. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can you reread Cycle's comment there?
He says he has a practical concern with teacher carry, as most teachers are women. How do they ensure no student access to firearms, especially in lower grades?
Okay, so let me just narrowcast to Cycle out there. Do you have a problem with women concealed carrying? Because
is it a concern of concealed carry at school? I don't know. I'm sure he'll answer.
I'll be right back.
Well, here in Texas, I know that a lot of the districts, the way that they do it, and I completely agree with this, by the way, is that they carry on their person. So they have responsibility and they have control over that firearm. Right. Then not every teacher is allowed to carry. It's not free reign. They have a select few that they put on a security council, a security committee, a security team, whatever it might be. And they actually rotate days of the week on which teacher carries. That way,
okay, that's a good idea.
You can't even if you tried to do your homework and you said, well, I'm going to go shoot up the school, but I'm going to case it first, and I'm going to figure out who's carrying, and I'm going to talk to people, maybe members of the school board, whatever. Well, you would be hard pressed to figure out exactly which teachers carry, because they rotate them.
Well, I think
Cycle came back and he said he has no. He says, no, not at all, but lower grade teachers tend to be more hands-on. I was just concerned about purses or desk drawers. Now, in that situation, purses or desk drawers, yeah. But I would sit there and say that maybe you do make that stipulation that's going to be on person. And, but, like you said, that is a concern with the lower grades. Maybe, they are a little more hands-on. They go from desk to desk and do some different teaching in the lower grades, but that's up to the individual teacher. In my opinion, if that teacher doesn't feel that they should or have enough responsibility to handle that, then maybe they shouldn't carry. It doesn't mean they shouldn't have the ability to carry.
I think it's part of the training that it takes to be considered for this council that you mentioned. I think there should be some restrictions, and some of the stipulations to those should be that the individuals who do actually carry in school should have a proper personal carry CCW, as well as a council training mandated by the local police department.
And I agree that 100%. I think that if a state comes in, and let's say it's a statewide law that allows it, then I think the state's educational department should have firearm training for all their employees or for the teachers. If it's a school by school and they allow it by the school, I think that school should offer, through its local law enforcement or whatever, offer some firearm training. Now, that being said, before we get going on, Grim, who is a GunChannels hero for most shows, he's everywhere. On top of that, he's a teacher. And I want to get your perspective on this, Grim. What do you think?
I kind of have to agree. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay, I want to make sure my headphones are working. No, I agree. It should be either a select few or, like he said, the random, changing. But to me, it's kind of like carrying even CCW. I mean, because most in the schools are anti-gun, especially here in Illinois. But no, I think we should. Most of the schools don't have a police officer or anyone, and there are no barriers. Like, even if you get buzzed in through the camera, you could walk whichever way, left or right, you want down a hallway. Yeah, granted, they might get you in a minute or two, but I still think it can be done. I mean, I understand having some kind of training, or, just our current, whatever you want to call them, was a former police officer and, police chief. So he's in one, and we have a large district. I mean, we have about 45,000 students. So.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is a big district, but I think it could be done. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this, and I think it was John and I, or was it Hottie? I can't remember. We were in a discussion earlier. I've seen some stuff that said that if you do allow teachers or administrators to campus carry, they have tornado drills, they have fire drills all in the school. Should they have an active shooter drill? And I understand both sides. A part of me says that yes, if there is an active shooter, that maybe the protocol would be to everyone knows what they need to do. Because I know a lot of schools will go complete lockdown, and all the kids have to stay in their classes, but some will move them to a specific area and all of that. I understand that, and I think it's not a bad idea. I do understand also the flip side of this is if a student knows what the protocol is, he's going to know exactly where everybody's going. Should there be a protocol for an active shooter in schools or not? Now, I want to pass this throughout the room. I'm going to start with Grim, though, because you have a little more hands-on experience.
Yeah, for us, we necessarily don't call it active shooter, but our lockdown is basically for that intention. If there is an active threat in the building, you're to secure yourself in your classrooms. Just pretty standard. I mean, we do have different levels. We have a lockdown, and then we have a secure building, which means no staff is allowed in or out of the building if something is outside, an outside threat. Is movement within, but a lockdown is basically our active shooter. That's what they're actually planning for.
You can't leave that room, right?
No, you teacher, staff, administrator, where you are is where you are. There is no movement, and you're waiting for basically the police or the police department to come.
All right. So that being said, I want to take a couple things that Cycle Camp and Clover are talking about in the chat, talking about a quick access lockbox or a biometric box or something like that. That being said, should there be a lockbox with some sort of firearm in different classrooms for that purpose alone, where maybe it's one of those that the teacher has to type in a code for emergency only, but if you're in that situation, you would have access to defend you and your students. Is that something that the room thinks is good or bad?
I see no problem with that.
I don't like it.
Okay.
I don't think it's a good idea. I really don't think that's a smart idea.
All right,
because
Clover, what you got? Hold on, I'll come back to you, Outlaw. I'm gonna go back to Clover real quick. What'd you say?
Well, I mean, I don't like it. I mean, like I said, around here, most of the districts, what they're going to do is they rotate out, they carry on their person, and they rotate out who's able to do that. And then even if you go through a lockdown drill, which they've made a lot of advancements with the way that the doors and the windows lock and with those drills and their protocols and stuff are pretty good at this point. But even if you have a Columbine situation where you have, actual students that are trying to do harm, they may know some of the protocol, but they're not going to know who's carrying. So,
Right.
They're not going to be able to target, that essentially, I mean, if you know your whatever your security obstacles first going in, then I mean that's going to be your number one targets, and they're not going to know that. So they're going to be flying blind, and I don't know. I just see that as a better thing than having a lockbox in every single room. Because I mean, here's the thing: what if your classroom, I don't know, what if you're in a different part of the school building? What if you're in the gym? What if you're at lunch? What if you're outside? you could be in a different spot. So having it on you is the optimal way to go, I think. And this is a voluntary thing. It's not
personally,
like
I'm 100% agreement with that. 100%.
the districts are not coming out, and the state's not coming out and saying every teacher has to carry, a firearm on their person. Every teacher has to do this. What they're doing is they're going to take those teachers that want to do it. Maybe they're already licensed to do it, and they, on a voluntary basis, and then get a handful of those, go through all of their protocols and everything else, make sure they're trained, and then just rotate them out.
All right, go. So let me just clarify. Was your question there? Was your question there? Okay, so that wasn't taking away the concealed carry of the teachers.
No.
That is in addition to, correct?
Well, it's I'm watching this in the chat, so I'm kind of bringing it up. All right, two different scenarios. We'll go this. The first scenario is concealed carry is allowed by teachers. Okay. But on top of that, they might not, maybe not in every classroom, but let's say in every department or every wing will have a lockbox somewhere that has a firearm that can help these teachers defend themselves. The second scenario is there is no CCW, and that the school will provide firearms or provide a lockbox for teachers not to conceal carry, but to have in a lockbox should there be, they can bring them to school, and as soon as they get in the class, they have to put them in a lockbox. I don't know how you would do it, but you put them in a lockbox. So instead of concealed carry. So those are the two different scenarios. Like I said, it's not really a question. I'm just going through here and seeing what people are saying. But the lockbox issue could be something where I would prefer to have it where the concealed carry is in effect. They carry on person. But if they feel like Cycle said, that they have a lot of hands-on, they'll be moving around, they don't feel comfortable carrying on person all the time, while they're doing that, they have a lockbox in their desk or something that they can put in for that class period or whatever they decide to do. That's kind of what I'm going with.
I don't think that they have that level of comfort, confidence, and competence. Then I don't think they need to be in that situation where they're on the security team with a school and they're talking about, dozens, hundreds, whatever, thousands of kids. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. Outlaw, what were you going to say?
Honestly, I think putting a lockbox in a classroom or in a designated area is a bad idea, and this is why. Those things can be broken into quite easily. It's not hard. All you need is a pry bar, and you could bust those things open. And it wouldn't be hard for even a 10, 11, 12-year-old to figure this out. You want to carry, fine. Get you a level 2, level 3 retention holster. It's safe. It's going to take a lot of force to pull a gun out of a retention holster like that. That's the best option in my eyes. And in my mind,
I'm sorry to cut you off, but in my mind, lockbox is just a general term. It could be a safe in the fucking teacher's lounge.
Yeah, it could be of each building. Armory. You could set up a literally armory inside the teacher's lounge or something. I don't know why you would do that, but you could.
But to my point, here's my thing. If you've got a safe or a lockbox, whether it's in a wing, it's in the classrooms, it's whatever, who's going to be accessing that? Okay. And it gets into how comfortable they are, qualified, competency, whatever. I mean, we're outside of the realm at this point because we all pretty much agree concealed carry, in the school.
I think we all.
So who's accessing that? So if you give access to somebody that's never shot in their life, or maybe they only shoot on the weekends, or in a situation like that where you have a threat, okay, most people have one of two instincts: it's fight or flight. Okay, the person that has that flight instinct and goes and access that safe possibly could become a liability to the situation, not an asset. So, you want to control over the people who would have access to that. You want to make sure that they're, like I said, they're competent in everything. And if they're competent in everything, why aren't they carrying on the person? So I don't see the need for it.
Yeah. I think you're right. I mean, Clay's over here saying that teachers should be able to carry in school just like they can carry at Walmart if they're allowed to carry concealed carry. And I think, like you said, we all agree that CCW should probably be allowed to happen on person. If that individual teacher wants to bring a biometric box or a lock box, into their classroom because they feel like there are certain instances during the school day that they shouldn't be carrying on the person, by all means. But I don't think that a centralized armory, a centralized each classroom having a lockbox, because you're just begging for someone to come in the middle of the night and take that. So you're actually maybe arming these kids to do worse harm.
And there's another side to this too that we haven't talked about with lock boxes or safes, as opposed to carrying on your person. Carrying on your person is your personal property, just like your vehicle, just like your home. That desk drawer belongs to the school district. So it's a thin line in the definition. Don't get me wrong, but you transfer from a personal issue into that's on the school district's property. There's a difference between having a gun on the school district's property and there being a gun on the school district's property.
All right. Enrique says on the gun channel side, some type of lockbox needs to be available. For instance, the AZ CDL has been, I guess that's Arizona. I don't know, Arizona something, but it's been
Citizens Defense League.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Has been for years advocating a bill that would either let CCW carry on all public buildings and/or the public building should offer lockboxes. School would fall into that just as the local town hall. So, there's a point to be made about that. Like I said, I think that we're all probably in this room at least in agreement that if your state allows concealed carry, then they should allow to carry on school grounds, whether it's public or private. I think this is more of a public thing because a private school can pretty much make up whatever rules they want because they don't get state funds. But that being said, it's an argument for a lot of people that are a lot smarter than all of us. But I think it's interesting that there are a lot more states than I thought. I thought there were a lot more states that were actually allowing it already, but it's a smaller number than I anticipated, which is kind of alarming to me, I guess. I guess most of the states that I thought would allow it are one of those states that give the school districts individual right to decide. So it is what it is. All right. So anybody have any more thoughts on teachers and carrying at this point?
Can I just add something?
Absolutely.
So let's go back a little to the training.
Okay.
So even though people might have their CCW, I think it should be a requirement. Number one, because you get the background check.
Mm-hmm.
You do the NCIC check with the FBI and local police departments. And in addition to that, those teachers that are on that quote-unquote council you had mentioned would be required to do an additional monthly training with the police department on the day the school is closed.
Oh, yeah.
And they would be required to do that training, their first responder, whatever you want to call it, for situations such as gunmen on site. So nobody else would have access to know what the protocols were if they're not there. School's closed, those teachers not on the council have no clue.
Yeah,
now,
I think
that's not a bad idea, actually.
Now, furthermore, with those lock boxes, I don't agree that you should have the lock boxes outside of teachers not being on site in their classrooms for storage. The reason I say I don't think there's a need for the lock boxes is because those additional safety protocols required for teachers, in addition to that additional training with the local police department, part of the stipulation to that would be requirement to have their firearm on person at all times outside of those times where those teachers need to secure it if they're going off property, if that firearm belongs to the locality. If it's their CCW, they should be mandated to carry it on them at all times. This way, there's no question about who has access to it.
And I think we're talking when we talk about a lockdown policy and we talk about a response policy, I think we're talking about two different policies too. The kids need to know.
Policy would be
the students,
internal
the
to when the
need
school
to know
is
that
active. The lockdown policy would only be active when school is in session. The training itself, the mandated training, would take place only on days where there is no school.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a totally separate thing.
Right.
The students don't see that, and they don't need to see that because they're not the ones responding. However, in a lockdown, the students need to know the protocol, for lockdown. Remain in the room, get in the corner of the room.
That's like you said, that's a whole different issue. I think those are two separate. I think you're right. That
exactly.
Yes, the lockdown procedures for the entire school, that's a school thing. The response team or whatever you want to call it, yeah. Now, Grim, do you guys? I know here in Arkansas they have built-in what they call teacher in-service days, where the kids don't go to school, but there are days that are built into their contract that they do different training or whatever. Is that something you guys have up in Illinois as well?
Yeah, we do. We do it. They're built in about once a month on average.
So that could be a perfect opportunity for something like this to occur. Should that be the way they decide to go, is a response team that's training when the kids aren't there. That could be an opportunity like that, and a once a month in-service training or something.
You know what? I think they could, because our local, since we're spread over a few towns, each local department actually periodically, and as a staff member or administrator, they don't tell us, but periodically on a Saturday or Sunday, only the superintendent knows, they go in and they practice like clearing the school.
Really?
We only know because
law enforcement does?
Yeah,
SWAT,
because
probably.
Yes. Yes, a select few that are to respond. And I know because periodically you'll come in that Monday morning and you see the paint casings that they use for like in the military, the paint, they use their regular firearms, but you'll see the brass casings periodically and the kids are picking them up. And I'm like, great. I'm like, just give them to me. But that would be like, I don't know if it was Clover or John was saying, those teachers that would be on that panel would then practice or just watch, as an additional training on those days. I think that would be a good idea. No one else knows.
I think it would be a great idea for them, for them to be a part of that training when law enforcement comes in, so they know how to react when law enforcement comes in.
And if they're not particularly involved in that training, at least watch, and so they know exactly how it's going to be done.
So I agree. Just so you're familiar with, taking control in the school and knowing what they're going to do as they're entering.
Yeah, Hemi out there on the YouTube side that he's 100% against having a gun in a lockbox at a school. If you're not comfortable with carrying it, that isn't the role for you. Absolutely, and I don't think that you would force teachers to have a lockbox with a gun. I think that you would give the option, and it's probably going to be the option of someone who's already a concealed carry permit holder. If the school's not going to allow concealed carry on the school premises, you would make it available to people that are already licensed to conceal carry. That would be my stipulation. That has training. It'd have to be, once again, mandated training, but someone who's already gone through that, so they would already be comfortable with a gun in the room.
Can I add one more thing to the gun box?
Absolutely.
The reason I don't agree with the lockbox is because once you start putting those out, everybody will know where they are.
Yeah.
And you don't want that.
No, and I'm not an advocate for it. I'm just saying that if you were to do that, there would have to be, if a school is going to sit there and say, here's what we're going to do, then I would say that you would have to make sure that you'd have to have someone that has been trained. You're not just going to throw them in a room and say, hey, guys, everyone's got a 9mm Glock 19 in your lockbox at school. So I'm not.
No lockbox. No lockbox.
No lockbox.
Because
I think if you're going to do
people
it,
know where it is
concealed and keep it on person.
And like Ellis, and I think Ellis or someone else that's mentioned, they're easy to break through. Why put something in the plan where everybody's going to know where it is?
Absolutely.
No lockboxes.
Damn, that took 53 minutes already. So I'm going to say this. Right?
We can talk about that other topic on hit or miss tonight if you want.
Yes, you can, and if you don't, then I will bring
Tuesday,
it
9
up
o'clock.
on the next week's show. I'm going to go a little bit long. I'm not going to go like crazy long, but I'm going to go a little bit long because I do want to talk about a couple other things real quick. But I know that you might have to leave here in a few minutes, so do you have anything you want to say?
Oh no, I'm staying for the full duration. We'll start hit or miss late if we have to.
Okay, all right. Well, we're not going to get to all the topics tonight, but we can bring up the last topic on your show. How about that?
Okay, what was our last topic? I don't remember.
Are you wanting to bring up the Arsenal, or what are you wanting to bring up on yours?
The Arsenal one.
Okay, well, I'll drop the Arsenal. You can bring it up on hit or miss, so we'll feed into that one.
All right.
Real quick, guys, I'm going to touch on this briefly, the military moment. There might not be a whole lot of discussion on this because we've talked South Korea till we're blue in the face already, but something happened. Something happened yesterday that I thought was pretty cool. I'm just going to read this quick article. It's a real quick article. But apparently, the Pentagon deployed a formation of 14 bombers and fighters over the Korean Peninsula on Sunday that also included South Korean and Japanese aircraft. The latest show of force in response to North Korea's missile launches and nuclear tests. The warplanes were dispatched over North Korea, launched a ballistic missile over northern Japan on Thursday, triggering a widespread emergency alert. 2 Air Force B-1B bombers and Anderson Air Force from Anderson Air Force Base in Guam, and 4 Marine Corps F-35 Bravo fighters from Iwakuni, Japan, combined with 4 South Korean F-15 fighters and 4 F-2 fighters from Japan, were involved. The aircraft carried out a simulated attack on Pilsung Training Range in South Korea, a few dozen miles from the demilitarized zone separating the North and South. A show of force came as President Trump prepared to deliver remarks for the first time in the week at the United Nations General Assembly. Let's see here. United Nations and a U.S. ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, says if North Korea keeps on with this reckless behavior, if the United States has to defend itself or defend its allies in any way, North Korea will be destroyed. And we all know that, and none of us want that. That being said, the fact that now it's not just us, we've got South Korea and Japan all jumping in on these practice things could be, hopefully this is something that will show the rest of the world, and China and North Korea especially, that we're not fucking around about this, guys. Don't do anything stupid because it's not just us anymore, you know?
Well, you forget, South Korea is still a little pissed off at Japan, because of the whole World War II
That's always going to
thing.
be that way.
But
That's always going to be that way.
But the fact that they're able to overlook that and join with us and help us show
right.
that we are stronger than they are, even as a group, than by ourselves.
Yeah, and that to me, I was really happy to see that because for the first time in a long time, it's not just America's having problems with North Korea. It's Japan and South Korea, and we're showing China now, get control of your little puppy dog over here, or it's getting ready to get real. And so I thought that was a pretty cool move. There was a joint task force that did that because for the first time in a while, it's not just the U.S. saying something. It's everyone now.
Yeah, keep that puppy dog out of our yard, or we're putting it down.
Yeah, and I don't know if anybody has anything to say because we've talked in North Korea so much about this that it might just be blue in the face. But I just thought it was pretty cool that there was a multinational training drill going on. So I thought it was pretty cool.
It is.
All right.
I will say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Fuck North Korea.
I mean, yeah.
That's the bottom line. Fuck North Korea.
That's well said.
Of course.
But yeah, I just thought it was cool for the first time that I've seen something positive that it's not just us, and there's probably a lot of people that don't realize that Japan and Korea actually have an air force. Yes, they do, and and they can handle shit themselves. But it's nice to see that under a unified flag or whatever you want to call it, that they're able to do something. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Here's the thing: most of North Korea's most of their military vehicles are from like the 70s and the 80s. They're like old military surplus from China and the Soviet Union, not Russia or the Russian Federation, the Soviet Union. That's how far back their equipment and arsenal is. So they start shit with us. I better hope they upgraded some of those vehicles to deal with the 20th century or the 21st century, because honestly, they're not going to last very long.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But the thing about that is they don't have to go very far. I mean, they're on an island. They don't have to worry about going amount. You know, these vehicles aren't going to be going very far. It's going to be if there is a conflict or a war, it's not going to be the Korean War of the 50s. This is going to be done in a week. I mean, it's really going to be done in probably 24 hours. The shock and awe that we saw in the Middle East, my opinion, is going to be nothing compared to what happens if we do decide to go into North Korea. It'll be done in 2 hours. I mean, we're just going to destroy it, everything. So that's my opinion. We might not, but as Knives like to say, unleash the Moabs. Yeah, it's going to be a quick war. There won't be a war. It'll be one-sided.
I hate to point this out, but I'm going to anyways because you got the flag right behind you. You would know better than any of us how well equipped our military is.
Well, see, here's the thing. Here's a great thing about the U.S. military. We have some pretty awesome weapons that everyone knows about. But you know the great thing about the U.S. military? The really cool stuff nobody knows about yet. So the Moab is the mother of all bombs. The Moab's a pretty awesome destructive bomb. But I promise you, if the general public knows about the Moab, there's something sitting out in Arizona or New Mexico or Nevada that no one's ever seen yet that hopefully we never have to use. But I can promise you that the stuff that the general public knows about is nothing compared to what they don't know about.
Well, and
So,
then
yeah,
there's the stuff
fine.
that they developed that's mission critical, you know?
That's correct.
The Blackhawks that they flew in when they took out Bin Laden. Nobody had ever knew that we had stealth Blackhawks.
That's right. That's right.
Until one of them
went down.
caught the updraft from the heat in that compound and went down.
So, you know, there is a lot to be said about being the strongest military in the world. We're strong enough just by what people know about to basically level anybody in the world. We're even stronger with the stuff that nobody knows about. So I'm not really worried about it if it does get into a conflict. That's my personal opinion. But Semper Fi. All right, so we're moving on from that one just because I wanted to bring that up. I thought it was pretty cool. My military moment doesn't take very long. The next session we're going to get into, guys, is our second for the second. It's a thing we always talk about, Second Amendment. Tonight, I was really hoping G-Webs was going to be able to jump on. Marco might have kicked him out already. But I was really hoping he was going to jump on because he goes pretty much every year. But the second for the second tonight is going to be about the Gun Rights Policy Conference. It's run by the Second Amendment Foundation. But it's going to be held at Dallas this year. I'm going to read a little excerpt from it. The 2017 National Gun Rights Policy Conference is scheduled for Friday, September 29th through Sunday, October 1st at the Westin Hotel, DFW Airport. The theme of this year's convention is Making the Second Amendment Great Again, with the showcase panels discussing federal legislation, state and local action, legal battles in court, and much, much more, including over 65 speakers. The annual award lunch will take place Saturday afternoon. For information, click here, blah, 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 blah. The Second Amendment Foundation is the second oldest and largest tax-exempt education, research, and publishing and legal action group focusing on the constitutional right and the heritage to privately own and possess firearms. It was founded in 1974, and they have over 650 members and supporters and conducts many programs designed. I am a member of the Second Amendment Foundation myself, and it's a great organization that does take on a lot of the stuff. They take on local, municipal, and state governments that maybe the NRA is too big for or doesn't hear enough about. They kind of start taking some of these local issues, and they'll take cities and municipalities to court sometimes. So it's a pretty cool thing. But they do put on the Gun Rights Policy Conference. So if you're able to get down to Dallas, go check that out. I know G-Webs is going. Is G-Webs speaking at this, or does he just go? Does anybody know? I don't suspect he'll be speaking, but he may. Does anybody know about that? No?
I believe he's going to speak with people, but I don't think he's a.
He's not as a
but he's
scheduled
not. He's
speaker?
not a scheduled speaker.
Okay.
I don't believe so.
My biggest thing, guys, is I guess Night Strike is back, or he's be right back. I'm not really sure. Anyways, the Second Amendment, guys, you would think that right now would be a perfect time for the Second Amendment to be thriving in the U.S. Obviously, there have been things that have happened in the last year since, or I'd say, 9 months since Trump has taken office, that has come to think that maybe that's not the case. But there are two pieces of legislation that are going through Congress right now that are, in my opinion, extremely important. You have the SHARE Act and you have the National Reciprocity Bill going through. My thing is this. Some of you guys might not care. I get it. You have guns and all that, but you don't want to be an activist about it. That's fine. But here's the thing. If you think that the National Reciprocity Bill and the SHARE Act should go through, I would say this. It's our responsibility to hold our congressmen and our senators in check. Just because they're elected doesn't mean that they can do whatever they want. So please email, call, visit your congressmen and your senators and let them know how you feel. Because I promise you, if you get a letter signed by a lot of constituents that says, look, if you go against this bill and you're a Republican voting against party platforms, when your re-election comes up, you might not have the votes that you think. You'd be very, very surprised at how quickly they listen to that, because most politicians' job in their mind is to get reelected. So I would say there is Travis P11. What's up, man? He says he'd carry in a heartbeat if his district would allow him. Hell yeah. I didn't know you were going to be around, or I would have got you in here, because he's another teacher, Graham. But yeah. Anyways, I would sit there and say, as far as this goes, please contact your congressmen and your senators to allow them, to let them know how you feel, and if you suspect that they are possibly going to be voting against party lines, please allow them to understand that re-election can go either way with your constituents. So whether it's an individual call or email, or you get a letter drafted and have 1,000 people, whatever, sign it and send it to the congressman or senator, do your part, because these are two pieces of legislation that could change in our favor the sway of the Second Amendment back into our hands. So anybody have anything to say about any Second Amendment issues that I have not discussed that you guys want to bring up? This is what we're here for.
I just want to elaborate on what you just said. Is they already know elections are coming up, midterm elections. They know they're coming up. What you need to do on your part is remind them that you know that midterm elections are coming up.
That's right. Anybody else have any other Second Amendment agendas that need to be brought up? It could be anything at this point.
Well, to elaborate on what was just said there, keep in mind with the midterms coming up, and specifically the primaries. Okay.
Yes.
I've talked with my congressman in Washington on more than one occasion now. His belief is, with the current makeup of politicians, because they're all politicians regardless of party affiliation, the current makeup of politicians, that he doesn't think that we will see the anything move on suppressors or anything move on national you say it, I can't. Reciprocity with the current makeup. So what that means is, in the primary, we've got to bounce some of these yahoos out and get some other dudes in there that will change the makeup, that will make it possible for that stuff to go through.
Right on.
Because Trump will sign it. We just got to get it to his desk.
He said before.
He has said it. He has publicly said it. Absolutely.
Even at the last NRA convention, he said, "You get it to my desk, I'll sign it." Even at the last.
Yeah, anything remotely pro-gun, and Trump is not. He's not a poster boy for firearms by any means.
No.
But he will. His sons are big time hunters and whatnot, and he does respect that. I've read several articles and things about that.
And he understands the importance of the Constitution and what the Second Amendment means.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'll say also that even in Matt's chat, and I'm sorry, Clover, but in Matt's chat a couple weeks ago, he was talking about Sheriff Joe. And I think what that proves is Trump is also looking at the climate of his constituents. And if he feels his constituents feel strongly enough about something, he will do the right thing, because maybe he's more of a politician than we thought, but he will listen to his constituents. So you have a voice, and your voice is not only calling or emailing your legislators, but voting. That is your biggest voice. If you don't think it's going to happen, like Clover said, go put someone in office that will make it happen. Sorry, go ahead, Clover. My bad.
No, I was done.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I know Sheriff Joe. I've talked to him several times before and after this whole thing happened with him. But here, I'm not going to have him on hit or miss just because of the factor that he doesn't like doing public. Even though he does do public statements, personally, he doesn't like doing it. Yep. So that's why I won't have him on hit or miss, because I'm not going to try and abuse, the relationship I have with him.
No. But the whole point with Sheriff Joe was, I don't know if Trump truly thought that the pardon was the right thing to do, or he felt the pressure from his constituents crying out saying, pardon this guy, so he did. I don't know what that, but what I was saying is that the constituents were telling him that they wanted him pardoned,
right? And
Trump did it. So if we bring some legislation and we cry hard enough and we yell loud enough and we show that we want something done, and that also by voting in someone else into office, that's showing the president we're serious about this. Here's why we wanted this guy on here, because we're serious about a few of these bills and acts. He'll listen to that. He's shown he will listen to that. So that's very important. And we've got a year for the midterm elections, and it could be crucial for Second Amendment advocates.
Yeah.
Anybody else? How do you got anything about this, or Ellis?
Nope, you guys got it all covered, man. I mean,
Okay.
the NRA and GOA make it easy to reach out and contact your senators. They have form letters. All you do is type in where you live, and it'll send it to the right person.
That's right.
Sounds like y'all got all the bases covered to me.
Well, and a lot of it is, I'm fortunate to have my personal representative in the House of Representatives. He is a sponsor of the National Reciprocity Bill, so I don't have to worry about calling him because I know where he stands. But you can go on to congress.gov and search all about these things and find out where it stands. Right now, I believe that the reciprocity is still in committee, is it not? Last time I checked, it was in committee still. The difference with the SHARE Act is it passed through committee. Last week, was it not?
Correct. And it's
last
on the
Thursday
floor.
or something like that.
It passed through subcommittee. I believe it's a subcommittee. Now it's going to the full committee.
Committee. Yeah.
I thought it passed through committee. I'm almost positive.
Yeah.
I think it's going to the floor. I think it's going to the floor now.
It's on the floor already. Give it about 2 weeks, maybe 3.
Well, now we'll see. Though, is there any way to find out who voted yes or no on bills?
Yeah, you go to the house.gov or whatever it is, and you could see on the bills who voted for what and who voted against.
So for that bill, what we need to do is I'm sure somebody's going to be on this, but they need to record any Republican that votes no on it. And any Republican that votes no needs to be, I hate to say this, but needs to be shamed on a list. And I know a list, but they need to be on a list.
They don't need to be shamed.
Not even Republicans, but Democrats as well. Put them all on a list and say all these people voted against your freedoms.
And they need to go in the next elections. That's it.
That's right, and that's what you do. You dangle re-election, and they will listen to that. It's a very powerful thing, because that means if they don't get elected, they have less power and they have less money, and that's exactly what politicians want: is power and money. You take that away from just one person.
That's right.
Well, guys, we have run over to about 12 after 8, which is awesome because the teacher carrying thing took an hour, and that was awesome because it's amazing how one thing can go a lot longer than anticipated. But we were going to bring up, for those of you that are wondering, we were going to talk, our last segment was going to be a legitimate, not a cash, not crap stuff, but a legitimate home defense arsenal for under $800, a 3-weapon arsenal for under $800. So if you're looking to get into a home defense arsenal and you have $800 to spend, go check out Hit or Miss right after this, and we will might be bringing that up on Night Strike show. So what I'm going to do before I do my spiel, I'm going to go through the room, and Night Strike, I'm going to give you first crack because I know you've got to go over and start your show. So go ahead and plug away.
Check out Hit or Miss Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern.
Right now.
right now. So as soon as he presses the button, we're going over to Hit or Miss. We're going to start late because, you know what, fuck it. I'm tired of being on time anymore. But let's not be on time. Let's take our time, and let's get that Second Amendment through for everyone.
When the hell are you ever on time?
Exactly.
I used to be on time a lot, actually.
A long, long time ago in a land far, far away.
Hey,
Yeah,
real quick, Jared Wall said he sent an email to his congressman, an anti-gun Marine veteran, Seth Moulton. I'm sorry, what? An anti-gun Marine veteran, Seth Moulton. I need to have a talk with this fool. He said AR-15s are weapons of war and have no place in civilian hands.
Yeah, next election he needs to
Hey,
go.
Jared, send me that fool's email address. I'd like to send an email to him. Seriously. My email address is right there on the screen right there. Send me his email address. If not, I can probably find it. But I'd like to talk to this fool. Go ahead. Sorry about that. Nice, right? Thanks for being on.
I'm waiting until you press the button. I'm waiting until you press the button.
All right, Hottie, go for it.
Well, first off, thanks for the invite, Ghost. As
Absolutely.
always, good show. Had a good time. Everybody can check me out on Instagram at 2hottie206. Fairly new over there, but I'm building my stuff up and plan to get some original stuff up pretty soon here. I'm working on it.
There you go. Outlaw.
Hey guys, Ghost, thanks for having me tonight, buddy. It's always a pleasure to be on your show. You're a great host. I'm putting out some YouTube content. It's slow coming, but I'm getting it there. Hopefully, I'll be putting up some shooting videos in the near future. YouTube channels, Outlaw Hatfield, the same for VidMe. Check me out. Hit up GunChannels.com, people. You'll never find a better place for information about firearms.
Right on.
John Z.
John Z Project here. Go ahead and check out GunChannels.com if you haven't already. And thanks a lot for the heads up on this chat and the invite. Gave me enough time to get ready and to make sure I was here. And I appreciate being on the chats with you guys as usual. Thanks.
And all I got to say is Bueller. Bueller.
Bueller.
Bueller.
All right.
Bueller.
Hey, Grim, really awesome. Thank you for joining us again tonight. You got anything to say or plug or talk about real quick?
No, just thanks for the invite, and everyone in the audience, just stay active. That's the thing. I mean, I know I don't put any content out there, but my job is like to support you guys. I try and send the share links to the guys at the range, and I just letting them know about it. Support the Second Amendment. You guys,
Right on.
don't sit back.
And I will say this, and I pretty much believe that I speak for everyone that are content creators and show hosts on Gun Channels. We all thank you very much, Grim. There's a handful of about 5 or 6 of you guys that are extremely loyal to every single show that comes on, and so thank you for your support and Hemi and Jared and there's so many guys that are out there that watch every single show that come through here. So thank you so much. That lets us know that we're doing something right. So I appreciate you very much. And Clover, what you got?
Well, it was a good conversation. Yeah, I'm Clover Tack. I'm on YouTube. I'm on VidMe. I'm everywhere.
He's
want
everywhere,
to.
man.
Yeah, I just look
everywhere.
behind my bed for him.
There you go.
He could be
I
anywhere.
am. I'm gonna ask that everybody go check out that auction for G, and if you can't do anything on the auction, go look up gun websites. I mean, there's patches, there's shirts, there's
I'm gonna
things
put
that
the link out there for the auction again.
Oh,
there's
yeah,
things
for
we
gear
can
web.
there's things we can do to help out G. You know, beyond spending a bunch of money on an AR. So
Gear websites. You can go check out gearwebsites.com is where you can get some shirts and hats and patches and all that stuff. So, and I know that Patreon is a good one for him. And it's like, you know, it sounds simple, but people don't think that $1 a month means a lot because it's just $1. But understand if you can get 1,000 people, he has 160,000 subscribers on his channel. If he can get 1,000 people to donate $1, that's $1,000 a month. That's going to cover his gas and his film and his cameras and all of that. That's going to be able to allow him to continue this trip. I mean, people don't really understand the exposure that his tour will bring these grassroots gun shops in the Second Amendment. So, like Clover said, go check it out. Now, you got some shows coming up, so go ahead and plug those.
tomorrow night, 8 Eastern, The Next Generation. Thursday night, 11 Eastern, After Hours. Friday night, 10 Eastern is Fire on Friday.
Absolutely. And guys, I'm going to go on real quick. You can check me out. I'm going to put up my website is on the screen, but I'm going to go ahead and throw some links here on the YouTube side. That is my website. I'm on VidMe also under Ghost Tactical. A lot of the same stuff that I put on here are over on VidMe. VidMe gives us sometimes a little more freedom. My Patreon, if you're interested in supporting our channel, there's my Patreon. Guys, I'm going to sit there and talk about Gun Channels and the Loophole Tour one more time. It's a great place. Come on over. Most of these people are already on there, but if you're not, come check out Gun Channels. It's a great community. We do have on my YouTube channel and on VidMe the
It just went quiet.
Yep.
drill of the week. Last time that you can do that. And what did you say?
You just
We
went
lost you for a
quiet.
second.
Yeah.
Radio silence.
Radio silence.
Can you hear me?
They're after you, Ghost.
There you go.
All right. So the drill of the week is up on my YouTube channel. We're going to extend that till October 1st. Give you a little bit more time. And then starting in October, it's not be the drill of the week. It'll be drill of the month. I did receive a bunch of emails saying that 1 week was not enough time, that not everybody has schedules that can run out to the range real quick, and I understand that. So starting in October, we will do the drill of the month and give you a full month to be able to shoot that drill. So other than that, guys, I want to thank my buddies here to join the show tonight. I want to thank everybody that's out there on the Gun Channel side. Cycle Camp, Bob the Biker, Grim, Robbie, Moon, Enrique, John Z, Clover Tag, always see over there. On the YouTube, I know we had some people that were here earlier, a couple of buddies of mine that were on here, but I know Jared and Travis P. You had Cycle Camp over here. You had Hemi that was over here. So thank you guys for watching. I really New Throne Clay was over here. So Clay was over here. We had several over here watching in and out, but I really do appreciate everybody. Drox 4 Horde. What's up, girl? Thanks for watching. Give Ellis hell. So thanks for watching. But other than that, guys,
Don't give Ellis hell. No, that's
No,
bad.
that's my job.
No, give him
Yeah, that's
hell.
my
But
job.
Give him
guys,
hell. Give him hell.
Go check out Night Strike 1 on YouTube. He'll be live here in a few minutes on the Gun Channels. It's hit or miss. Check out Hit or Miss with Night Strike and Miss Peggy and all that. We're getting ready to head all over there. Most of us are going to be over there watching and all that. So thanks again, guys, for watching. We will see you next Tuesday on Tactical Tuesday. Semper Fi.